Hi, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko Restorations again. This will be part 3 of our tutorial on how to restore a Pachinko. I'm now on the back side of the machine, and as always I forgot to start the video before I started working. But when you take stuff off the back side, typically you will start at the top and work your way down. And then when you rebuild, you start at the bottom and work your way up. So most Pachinko machines have parts that have been stapled on when they were first manufactured. So if you can see here, there's staples all through all of this. All these pieces are held in with staples. This is the main chute that comes out of the hopper. This was stapled on. The upper hopper did have a couple of screws on either side, but it was all stapled across the top. So what I do when I pull stuff out is you definitely need one of these tools, this little bent angle tool, and I've actually taken a grinding wheel to this and made it a little bit thinner than it comes right from the hardware store. And what I do with this, I took the screws out and then get in and gently pry the plastic away from, or pry the staples out of the wood. You have to be very careful. The plastic can be quite brittle. Again, if you break a piece of plastic, it's not that big a deal. Usually you can glue it back together. So this I've taken the screws and the staples out of this, the screws and the staples out of this. This piece has a brass rod that goes through. I'll take this out, I'll clean the brass rod, put it back in, put a little piece of tape back on it. In other words, take it all apart but rebuild it. I won't do anything with this because this is set up the way it's supposed to be. I don't want to change that weight, so I'll just clean around it. So now that you've got those two parts off, you can now start to see some of the pieces that were underneath. For example, right here is a piece of plastic that was underneath some of this stuff that you didn't see before. These are the things that you want to be real careful of. Anything that was hidden. Definitely encourage you to take a lot of pictures. So you would take a lot of pictures before you ever start, and then as you pull stuff off and reveal things, you then want to take a picture of it so that you can see it as you rebuild the machine. So this is staple, even though there's screws in here, it's just the staples that are holding it to the board. So what I'll do is I'll take a drill with a small bit, and there will be holes in the plastic if they were going to use screws. So I'll just go in here, make a short hole. Don't go all the way through because it'll poke out on the other side. I also did one up here and one here. Now that serves a double purpose because when I put it back onto the machine, I'm not going to use staples, I'm going to use screws. So this becomes the pilot holes for my screws. It also gives me a good reference point to make sure that I get this exactly in the position that it was in. You can see where the lighter color is here. Obviously this portion of the board got dirty, but I sand these boards down so you don't lose it completely, but you will lose some of it. You don't want to rely on it. So as you work down the machine, this is just a cover. That'll come off. This is a cover. That'll come off. Typically what I do when I take the covers off, if these two screws hold this cover on, actually 4, hold this cover on, I'll take the screws out, take the cover off, put the screws right back into the base plastic so that I remember where those screws came from, and just keep working. Now when we get down into this mechanism in here, this gets a little more complicated, so we'll do another video on that, but for now you can continue to start to take a lot of this stuff off. Again, step by step, be careful. Thanks.